Hello, and welcome to The Road Already Traveled, a podcast where we feature lessons from successful entrepreneurs and the professionals that serve them as they share their inspiring stories and insights. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello and welcome back. I am Rich Schutte, your host of The Road Already Traveled, where we share lessons from entrepreneurs, like-minded business owners, and the professionals that serve them, providing valuable insight to those listeners who are in the same journey. Today's episode, as always, is being brought to you by Avalan, a wealth management firm dedicated to personalized financial, business, and investment planning for entrepreneurs as they make their way in the chaotic world. Are you ready to take control of your financial future? At Avalan, we believe wealth just isn't about numbers. It's about freedom, security, and living life on your terms. Wherever you are in your entrepreneurial journey, our team of experts is here to guide you every step of the way. No cookie-cutter solutions, just smart, personalized strategies designed for your goals. Using our unique Optimal Entrepreneur Program and an unwavering focus on world-class service, our relationships are built to last generations, helping clients achieve lifelong goals through a thoughtful, consultative approach. Visit avalanwealth.com today to start building the future you deserve. That's AVALAN wealth.com. Today, I am actually super excited to have a longtime friend, Austin Lampson, join us. Austin is a genuine dynamo, an incredibly spiritually connected human being that I've relied on outside of my professional life for just personal friendship and amazing insight. And I'm just super grateful that she's going to spend some time with us to share some of her views of the world and let us know a little bit about who she's all about. Austin is your ally in the mortgage process. Her goal is to help you achieve yours. She has been in the industry for over 2 decades, although you'd never know it looking at her, and she's seen a lot. It's her passion to ensure her clients have respectful, white glove service as you work together to find the best mortgage solution. Austin Lampson has been consistently recognized as a national top producer, including Mortgage Executive's top 1% mortgage originators in America, Scotsman Guide's top originators, and Scotsman Guide's top women originators, as well as local recognition with an 8-time Best of Santa Barbara winner from the Santa Barbara Independent. Austin, welcome, and thanks for spending a little bit of time with us.
Thanks so much, Rich. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be super fun for me. My favorite part about doing this is what I get to learn from people. And I feel like I already know so much about you, but I know I'm going to learn something new. And I'm just really excited for anyone that's tuning in to get to know Austin. Let's start personally. I want to just kind of dig into that and let people know you're a human and not just a badass mortgage producer.
No bots here. That's true.
What do a lot of people not know about you? Quirks, strange habits, hobbies?
So I'm super big into gratitude. And one thing that people don't realize I do is I actually publish gratitude journals on Amazon. What I found is, for me personally, I see an issue, get all bent out of shape about it. And then I'm like, how do we fix it? Right. So let's see I don't know if people can see behind me, but there's like an award for a mural I painted in town because I thought the wall was ugly, right? The gratitude journals came because I liked one and then they didn't make them anymore. So I started doing them personally and then people were like, can I buy them, right? So for me personally, it's how do we pay it forward and bring more color and creativity with a sense of grace and gratitude in all that we do. And also I got in a fight with a raccoon, but that's maybe not on the same spectrum.
Actually, maybe that might be part of the next question. But, interestingly enough, I love that you brought that up because I keep mine that you sent to me right here on my desk, which is super cool because it keeps me grounded during the day to be able to put a couple things in there when I'm getting frazzled.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
So, all right, painting a wall because it's ugly, or with a mural, or fighting a raccoon, that's kind of crazy. But what else have you done in your life that's just absolutely out there that might give people an idea of who you are?
I'll say I think one of the craziest things I've ever done is pull my husband on a trip for 48 hours to France because he'd never been there. And we took the long holiday over July 4th. And I actually lived in Lyon, France, because I wanted to be in the hip hop industry when I was a kid, because I thought that was really cool. And so I learned French because in the 90s, France had the second largest hip hop community, right? So being from New Orleans originally, already had the French thing, moved in, and I wanted to share with my husband why I start everything with butter. I wanted to share with him why, the Beaux-Arts are so meaningful to me, right? And so literally pulled him on a plane. We planned it with 2 weeks to go. We ransacked the whole city and had a lot of fun. And to top it off, I always like to do a little mementos. We did like the lock with us together. We had done one of those locks on our 10-year wedding anniversary when we went to Japan, and I found the second one. So I thought it was a fun little brooch because if anybody knows, Van Gogh spent a lot of time in Japan. So it was fun to like bridge that little arch together.
Yeah,
But the raccoon might be number two.
that's got to be up there. I've defended myself from one with the garbage can lid, but never got into a fisticuffs.
Oh, I took my dog out for a walk and my husband's like, "Oh, use the leash, be sure." And I'm like, "I'm asleep. She's asleep. It's fine." She hears a raccoon. She jumps into a creek. And if you don't know this about raccoon, number one, their feces has brain worms, so please stay away. Number two, they carry tetanus in their mouth. Number three, they have rabies. And what they do for dogs is they bite them on the hind legs and then they gut the middle. Anybody that's been duck hunting in Sacramento might have been through this experience, unfortunately. So I hear this scream. I know what it is. I literally, it's 10 o'clock at night, just run into the creek, see this raccoon, and it's get this claw up about to gut my dog. So I belted it. I punched it right. I didn't know what to do. I had nothing on me. So I just clocked it in the head. It bit me. You can't see the scar very well anymore. It let go. I looked at me and then I kicked it and it's like, "You're crazy, lady." So I picked up my dog and went back up the hill. But I do keep a little raccoon on my desk to remind me what to fight for every day, right? Because it's not about me, it's about what we're doing and how we're making sure what we believe in is moving forward. And I believed in taking care of those that I love, right? So we're going to go into harm's way and make it happen.
I love that about you.
And 13 shots is great. And I don't have pierced ears. It was fun. It was so fun. It was so great. So great. All the
I was right up. So you mentioned you were from New Orleans.
Yep.
Kind of a cool little thing. I know you've embraced that a little bit, or a lot, as people from New Orleans do. What was it like growing up down there?
Oh, geez. Well, I am the daughter of a educator, and my mother was in education, also in television production. My father's an architect. However, we lived in a not great part of town. The Irish Channel was not great in the 90s. I think our house got broken into 7 times before the age of 6,
Oh, wow.
right? I've never learned phonics. I went to public school and a Montessori school. And so you have this very interesting clash of culture, right? The intelligence around the music, the intelligence around the food, the intelligence around history, and this also lackadaisical approach to education in a lot of ways. So for me, it was embracing color. Purple is my favorite color because of the sound of the marching bands during Mardi Gras, right? And it was embracing history, like the ironworks and why they're the Spanish side versus the French side, right? And understanding how things are put together in community, those building blocks of culture through food, not feuds, maybe feuds. I don't know. Sounds like a food fight. Through music and that story. And then true community, right? Like our house was always broken into. And yet if I walked down the block, people made sure I was okay. So it's a very interesting dichotomy of the world, especially New Orleans. It's the third world in America. So please go and get out of the French Quarter if you can.
It's definitely something that has shaped you, right? Which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Growing up, educator, architect, what did you want to be?
Oh, I first of all wanted to work at Kinko's because they had the best office supplies. If you can't really see my drawer, but I have since created my own amazing office supplies and stamps and cards. I know you've been the recipient of many creative cards from me as well, right? So I wanted to actually be a project manager. I wanted to help people take what they want to do and what they're doing and make it a more efficient space. I'm a Capricorn. And I'm very much leaning into that GOAT organization. Let's go climb the mountain. And then the tale of like, it's going to be great along the way, right? That water emotion side. So for me, it was always a balance of math and emotion. And I fell into lending when I was 18, 1 month, car title loans, 25% interest. Now I'm 45. I've not had a piece of work done. I don't dye anything. I don't even get my nails done, right? So imagine at 18, be like, hello, can we talk about your car loan, right? So I always wanted to help people figure it out. And what I find, the reason it's my passion to help people help them achieve their goals is I find that one of my talents and treasures, a gift I've been given is you can tell me what you want to do, and then I can translate it into the day-to-day format, right? Like, tell me what you want to do. Tell me what this looks like. Tell me all the pain and the boundaries. Cool, awesome. Here's how we're going to do it together. And I've been blessed to be able to do it in the mortgage industry because it's broken and housing stability is a thing in this country and we are underbuilding and it's a rabbit hole of things that I could go into. So hopefully that answered the question. Play with office supplies and go get things done.
Was there any particular inspiration behind that or a big influence on you that kind of led you to that mindset of office supplies and eventually?
Well, my dad went to architectural school at Tulane University. So at 2 years old, I was with him when he's working on his graduate studies, and he'd, be at the draft board, right? Like before AutoCAD and everything. And so he's at the big draft board and he'd give me colors to play with, right? So I have been drawing houses since I was a kid. I've been into real estate since I was a kid. And so the functionality though, I think that's literally simply how I'm wired.
Got it.
Right.
So, I love that. So yeah, but now, like I said, I was going to learn something about you. So everyone's path is so fascinating to me.
Oh yeah.
So, so you got started then in lending for car loans.
Yep.
How did you make that transition into what you're doing now, and what did that look like as you went down that road and eventually starting your own entrepreneurial version of what you do? Because I'm going to pause for a second, but you are genuinely every last bit of an entrepreneur, right? There's so many people that work in offices like yours or work for somebody that do their thing, but you are really truly building something meaningful, right? Not just to the community and those you serve, but also the people that work for you. It's like, I know so many of them and how happy they are. It's like, so how did you make that transition and what did it look like?
So it's kind of a twofold question, right? So I think all entrepreneurs have a sense of they are doing the work, right? And I could segue in how I went from consumer finance into mortgages and what have you, but the reality is we are mechanics for a long time. And then there comes to a point when you're like, dude, this is not the right mousetrap. This is not the right way to either serve people or for the product to get to the marketplace, right? I don't know if anybody watches Gilded Age, right? But there's John that made the alarm clock, right? Like the product changed to be in the marketplace, right? He brought that forward. He changed the non-grease gear, right? And so for me, I kept hearing when I was an assistant in mortgages, I kept hearing and then working in operations, my loan officer won't call me back and I don't know what's next. And I realized, mortgages are mortgages, rates are rates, guidelines are guidelines. However, it is the balance of math and emotion where the professionalism exists, where the need exists. And so I went out on my own. Also could tell you a bunch of crazy, horrible things about that. But the truth is, whatever obstacle is truly an opportunity. It's how we create from that. So I went out on my own and worked to build a team based on love, serve, and care, right? If we can make people feel safe and feel heard, right? And that they know that we truly want their best interest. Like I got a phone call with somebody who was like, you should take this deal from this other lender. Like your sister has this relationship. It's in your best interest. And you will not be using my name on a letter to get your offer accepted, right? Like, right? People have to understand what that future looks like, right? And if we can make them feel safe, we can make them feel heard, and we can deliver something emotional as well as mathematical, then that's the point. That's the point, right? And I love hearing people's stories. Like you said, I love learning so much about people. Like Hi, guys. Like, I invent light bulb filaments. I'm like, Scott, what is that? Tell me more, right? So I love hearing people's stories. So I've created I don't even want to say brand. I really want to say a team. We are a small but mighty team. And I've created this team. We're all women to help them in their lives and so that we can help others, right? Give them that stability, give them that education and support. Hopefully, they answer your question. I feel like I might have rambled on you
There
for
was a
there.
lot there to unpack, and anyone listening, you might want to like hit that rewind button a couple times and get it all. But I loved that comment you made that every obstacle is an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I really think that that is such a defining mindset for an entrepreneur, right? It's not just finding the obstacle and having to dig through it and figure out how you're going to do it and then go home and complain to your partner. It's like actually seeing that opportunity. And that's how we get to build businesses, right? And for successful entrepreneurs, that's what we do. That's the magic. And
Yeah.
go hit the rewind button and listen to that answer. It was epic. Um, so you've had this incredible success. We've sent people your way. Their experience with you is never anything less than stellar, and they feel all those things that you talked about, and it's incredible, especially in your space. Um, but you didn't just wind up like that, right? So what were the early days like? And then talk to me a little bit because I'll use this to segue because what I really want to highlight how you as a service provider, not an entrepreneur, can really help our community because
Of course.
we're very difficult to work with based on how we keep our books or do the things that we do. So I really want to get into that, but as we do, um, again, what was the early days of your career like, and when did you realize that serving our community really makes a difference for people like us?
So I was, so again, 1998 car title loans, 2001 consumer finance, 2022 or 2002 mortgages assistant, '07 operations, survived the countrywide Bank of America takeover, coming out the other side as a regional operations manager, $2 million signing authority, doing fraud audits for them in the FBI. Woo, some great stories, some great things that should never have happened, right? Um, and in that transition, we're a little bit after the meltdown. We're now Bank of America versus Countrywide, and this gentleman walks in the door, and Spanish is his first language, but he speaks a little bit of French, more French than English. So we're working to communicate, and he's like, "Yeah, but the guy said $500 and it's fine." And I'm like, "What are we talking about?" Now, this gentleman was not born in this country, and he works 7 days a week to support his family. He is a true entrepreneur. He built it from scratch. He doesn't have a large business, but he had like 4 or 5 employees, and he's feeding his family and their family and constantly working to improve and better. And he walks in the door, he says, "But $500." Like, what are you talking about? And what I found out was a loan officer who's now in jail for other things that are even worse than mortgage fraud, had told him he had prayed. He was a Spanish speaking loan officer, and he prayed on this gentleman and said, "Hey, just sign here and give me $500 in cash and I'll fix your mortgage." Now, this is back in the days of the pick a loan world, right? You could have the interest only, the negative amortization, or 2 different payments. And what you did not know as a consumer is that your rate and your payments are based on an index and a margin. That's how all adjustable loans work, right? The margin is the plus onto the index. Prime, SOFR, most people think the Fed rate, right? That's really going into prime. And then you have a margin, and then the 2 is your interest rate. Now, back in the day, what they could do when they sold these predatory loans is they sold different margins. So the first 2 payments looked the same no matter what your margin was, but the other payments didn't. And if you sold a higher margin, the company would split the difference in profit between you as the loan officer and the branch. So here, this loan officer was, the guy got a $700,000 loan. He should have gotten a 30-year fixed rate, or at least something that was, protected for 7 or 10 years. Instead, he was convinced to take this low payment because he was an entrepreneur, and needed flexibility, right? And the guy's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I was like, yeah, but just do this." And the loan officer not only took $500 in cash, which is highly illegal, but made $10,000 in his pocket by lying and misleading this gentleman. And what I realized was, dude, entrepreneurs are the backbone of our country. Yes, people buy Coca-Cola. Yes, we buy Starbucks. Yes, Amazon's a big brain. But the truth is, entrepreneurs are the backbone of our country. And if we are not helping these people have a stable life, then we are not serving. You can tell I'm getting a little heated with this, right? And so I believe that responsible lending is one of the highest forms of community service. Because if Rich can be comfortable and go home after a long day knowing he hustled to put food on the plates for his family and that their house is secure, he's better at home. He's better to lead the next generation. He's better to his partner. He's better to his employees. He's better to his neighbors. And that has a huge ripple effect because if we do the inverse and this guy walks in the door freaking out that not only has he put his entire life savings into trust with someone that just lied to him, that took his money, and that is now going to jail for another unspeakable act, what is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
How is he supposed to get up every day? Now, I will say the story has a somewhat happy ending. We were able to work with him and the fraud mitigation department and get him into a payment plan that actually worked for his family. They were able to keep the house. I haven't talked to the guy in 15 years, so I don't know the end story from there. But like, dude, y'all wake up every day and figure out, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to help my employees, right? And your employees see rising costs every day. You see rising costs every day, right? We all feel it. And you're getting up and you're putting that armor on, you're putting on the smiley face, and you're going out and you're doing the work. And you have to be a great craft person. You have to be a great technician. You have to be a great manager, right? To manage all the things. You have to be a great visionary, right? The last thing you want to do is go into a loan office where it feels like people are super stuffy and be told you're not good enough because you took advantage of taxes, because your business has grown so much this year versus last year, right? Like that's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. And I can hear my voice being elevated, but please, I am super passionate about this, right? The system is broken. The system is broken, right? And so I'm in this seat today. I still do this because it's hard, man. It is hard. And we get beat up a lot. And we get blamed for things that have nothing to do with us, right? Like, I'm so sorry your title company took a vacation. What? Okay, yell at me for not closing. This is not right, right? Like, we get so much dumped on us because we do come from a love, serve, care. But I want you to work the system. What is a P&L loan? Can we just look at the P&L? Can we just look at the bank statements, right? I've got a guy right now that is he's actually a financial advisor in another state, and he's buying a house in town. He's like, I make $1 million a year. I'm like, great. Then we get the tax returns. We're like, that's not $1 million, bro. Your top line isn't even $1 million. Well, things. So instead, we're pivoting and we're doing the most recent tax year that we collaborated with the CPA on to be like, let's get the numbers to work together and what we can take deductions from a benefit versus the income you need to support what you say you make, right? And now he's able to close. He's putting 15% down on a $3.3 million house. He's got no mortgage insurance. There's so many opportunities. So
and I definitely
for an entrepreneur,
I definitely want to get into some of those places, right? To
yes.
where, you're actually doing that. And I love that story. And you're right. Entrepreneurs really are the backbone of this country. But you kind of finish that off with all the things that land on our desks, right? And all the plates that we're spinning. And so that story really highlights how sometimes an entrepreneur is going to be the most vulnerable consumer, right? Because we're either an overly analytical entrepreneur where we're going to understand way too much about the process, but that's not most of us, right? Most of us are like, just get it done, right? And take it off of our plates. And if it's something, whether it's terrible or good, many of us don't even know the difference because we've wound up trusting the person on the other side of the transaction. And so we can be very vulnerable. So I love that passion. I love that about you. And I love that your voice was going up because that's how you are. But that passion is what ultimately does that, creates that service. I know the impact that you have with your clients. And, but I really, really do want to have our listeners get an opportunity. You talked about a bunch of different things, P&L loans, being able to go to our most recent tax year, all that other. talk about some things that maybe many entrepreneurs that are listening to this don't understand are available to them to be able to secure, their dream home or otherwise. Like help them understand the balance sheet and the process and things that you can specifically do to serve this community. Give me some idea.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, we're very blessed to have a company that wants to support entrepreneurs and that wants to play in the big market, right? Versus your 3.5% down FHA W-2 person, which is a great segment and doesn't serve the whole population. So, ranging from normally your world is here, give me your 2 years of tax returns. Cool. That's it. There's an average. You're done, right? We're seeing that you can use the most recent tax year. Okay, so we're only looking at the immediate tax year. You may need something like a 1098 or some sort of profit and loss, or to show that it's continuous, right? So we can look at just the most recent tax year. We can look at truly a cash flow from a bank statement standpoint, right? Especially your realtors that are out there. You don't have a lot of employees, right? And you're bringing in, you're writing off everything. Let's look at the cash flow. Let's look at the cash flow of the business. For my restaurant friends, y'all, this is the big one that we do for you a lot, right? Like a success story is there's a gentleman and his wife that are opening and taking over a lot of restaurants in town right now. And we've worked with them for years. And finally I was like, hey man, can I just have your bank statements? And he's like, wait, I can buy a $2.2 million house now? I've never been able to. I'm like, I know. Let's get creative. So let's look at the cash flow of the business and what that can support. Let's look at a true P&L. Now, again, hear me, the more creative, the more expensive it can be, right? But if you're someone that maybe you had a liquidity event from one company and now you're starting a different one, maybe we just look at those assets for qualifying, right? Another example is we had a gentleman that sold a business and was having a blended family. So he needed a very specific house. I mean, I'm talking 7 bedrooms, horse corral, like all very, 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 very specific, right? And not a lot of those exist here. And they fell in love with his property for a year and a half. And finally, we're like, look, man, your payout from your business is coming in a year. What you're actually getting from the business doesn't support this price range. But we looked at a no ratio product because he's got good credit history. He was able to put a decent chunk down and literally didn't even look at the tax returns, P&Ls, and everything I just said. So he's able to buy this property. And then when the second payout from the folks that bought his business coming in December, we're going to refinance him down and save money. But he was able to gain something that his family couldn't find anywhere else.
So that's remarkable. And, you said something that really resonated with me, right? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that I surround myself with, and that idea of a cash flow loan is always on their minds, right?
Yeah, because that's their life, right? That's
Exactly.
your true life.
And what's even more interesting is that, they'll all say the same thing. Well, this is why you need a relationship with a community bank, because they see your cash flow, they have it, they can take care of this. But then you wind up in product that doesn't support what they really need, right? And so you wind, or perhaps it's twice as expensive, or 1.5 times more expensive because they're going down, this narrow tunnel. And so I heard you list off like multiple different strategies that can fit in here, and I think that, again, entrepreneurs are simple, right? When it comes to the things that they do to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Not so much in our businesses, but we get really simple, right? It's like, so we go to the big bank or we go to the community bank, and we don't start to look at the options that are out there. But I think that this is one of the reasons why it's so important to work with someone like you, right? Who has product that goes well beyond, these one-trick pony shops that can do this particular type of loan. Or that particular type of loan, to where you can really spend that time analyzing what is going to be the best way that we can get the best rate for your particular situation. And that's something that's really invaluable that, again, our community doesn't really necessarily always think about, right? They need the big bank because that's who's going to take care of everything.
Right. Right.
They take care of themselves first.
Oh, we call it the golden rule. They have the gold, they make the rules, right? So, there's one other thing I want people to be aware of because what I found is a lot of entrepreneurs, they've got their house for their family and now they're working to keep their employees nearby. So we do have some opportunities for investment property loans. It's called DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. That's only looking to the property itself, right? So y'all that have NOLs that you're carrying over, right? Y'all that are, working to either expand a real estate portfolio because you want the passive income or you're trying to help a sister out, right? There's a lot more creative opportunities. And I think what you said, Rich, too, that I heard and that I want people to be sure they hear is you are not captive to where you bank. You are not. They are there to serve you, not to pigeonhole you, right? And banks have different mandates to lend. Banks have different mandates to invest, right? There's a whole like regulation behind it. And as there should be, yet the broader you get that you have to serve all the blankets, the less ability you have. So that's why I appreciate about your firm because you're looking at, I want to know where you need to be here. Now let's look at something that's not captive, right? And that's how we are too. Like, tell me what you want to do. Now let's look at something that is not captive.
And you have
Let's look that out.
you have that entire world in front of you, correct? I
Yeah.
mean, so there's really no type of loan or type of product when it comes down to serving your clients that you don't have some amount of access to that
Yeah.
you can use as a possibility for someone to meet their goals.
Yeah. I mean, we're residential, right? So we go up to 4 units, right? But I mean, dude, we're doing a lot of reverse 1031 exchanges. Maybe you're selling a commercial property that you don't need in your business anymore because nobody comes to the office
Mhm.
and you want to translate that into an apartment building or you want to translate that into something that's going to be a vacation rental because the IRS will let you use it 2 weeks out of the year for yourself and then you can rent it the other time. Like let's help you think creatively and free it. Let's have these collaborative conversations. I'm sick of the term holistic, right? Because remember everyone's like, oh, we're holistic this, but I'm like, okay, cool, namaste, bro. But let's be collaborative, right? Let's actually take it down because if we don't have these conversations, then this is just ethereal,
I,
right?
I just took a glance up at my little ad read to make sure I didn't use that word holistic. That I mean, that's truly amazing. Talk to me about your experience in working with entrepreneurs, right? It's like, typically high A-type personalities, right? Um, Talk a little bit about some of the challenges you've had to overcome, right? Either personally or professionally, working with these types of personalities. And I'm asking this
Yeah.
question so those listening can perhaps in situations such as, like looking to someone like you for help, can maybe adjust their behaviors. But yeah, talk about some of those challenges for me.
I think the biggest challenges we have in entrepreneurs is y'all get beat up so much and you get the door slammed in your face so much, right? I mean, my world, right? It takes what 9 no's to get to a yes, right? It feels um sometimes adversarial coming in like, well, you're just going to tell me this. Like, dude, tell me everything. I truly, truly, unless you're a horrible person that like, you beat your family or something like that, like, I don't care. I don't care. Like guidelines are made to be guidelines. Your life is your life. You didn't wake up 5 years ago and be like, oh, we got to make sure that I've got this amount of trade lines and reporting my personal name. Like, tell me everything. Like, this is a safe space and tell me your dreams, right? Because sometimes the answer is not now. Sometimes the answer is cool. If we do this, then we can do that, right? But if we do not have the honest, open conversation, like, dude, I know it's hard, man. I know it's hard. I know there's a lot of things you got to do off the radar or you're going to get beat up. I get it. I hear you. You are safe. You are seen and you are complete. Like, we're going to build it together. Seriously, like, you're a good person. I want to work with you, right? I don't care. I mean, I think one time, Rich, you and I did together, we did a loan that was like $36,000 because it was the right thing to do for the client, right? Like, I think we made like $300 on that deal, right? And it took us 4 months because they had all these problems, right? Like, who cares? It's the right thing to do. Like, have the open conversation. be vulnerable, share your dreams, y'all. Like, tell me everything, and I'll tell you how to work the system or not. It's all good. And bring in your humans.
We're,
Bring
we're
in your
also
humans.
we're also afraid to open up like that, right? Because we live so tight to our chest. We go home at the end of the day and talk to our partners about our struggles and our wins, and they don't get it. They're not walking in those shoes. We talk to our friends, it's like, because we finally bought this car we've wanted or whatever else it might be, and they're like, "Oh, must be nice." We've trained ourselves to stay closed off, right, to people that aren't in our most trusted and safe circles. So I think that's great advice, right, to anyone here listening to the podcast. It's like there are moments where it really does pay off to open the kimono, if you will,
Yeah.
and share. And when you're looking to buy a personal property, right, it's maybe one of those most important times, and typically one of those times where we tend to be the most closed off, right, because we're either embarrassed about our books, or we're like, well, I didn't report all this the way I should have, and it's like, so we get super closed down. So I think that's great advice. How have you gotten entrepreneurs to do that? How have you gotten them to open up to you?
Well, I will say that we're very blessed to have great relationships like we do with Avalan. And I didn't hear you say holistic, but you guys actually are holistic. I will tell you, on collaboration standpoints, for anyone that's listening, they actually do it for real, not lip service. We're blessed to have a lot of business partnerships in town. I mentioned earlier I get on a soapbox and then I change things, right? So I'm literally certified by the state bar to teach continuing education to attorneys on divorce lending and trust in estates, because they're writing these agreements that have long-term impact for their clients that don't know our world, and they don't have to, yet they do need to know what is enough of a red flag or to ask the question, right? So we're very blessed that I've really worked hard to be that professional's resource, to be the professional's choice, because once the professional, like, they tell their CPA the things and they do the dance, or they tell their financial advisor, or they tell their attorney and they do the dance. And so by getting those types of introductions, people are more open, right? Like, we had a client yesterday. I was like, hey, I know this is your attorney, this is your CPA and your financial advisor. I'm going to just email them and CC you and be like, give me things. And you say yes. And they go, great. They're like, because I don't know when I would have had time to do that. I'm like, I know. Right. So we're blessed to be, I believe, one of the main professionals' choice. But I will tell you, entrepreneurs, if you need professionals, ask us too. It is like a privilege when we can hand people back, right? Like, we had a kid that you guys were helping, and he didn't know anything. He inherited a bunch of money. Like, he didn't know the stuff. Like, his passion is he's domestic violence, actually, because of some situations for a family. And he was being taken advantage of a big financial firm. And he trusted me because he trusted his realtor, and then he could trust you. So talk to your people. Let's work with our people together, but don't be afraid to make the call to us at all.
Yeah, I love that. And what I also love about conversations is another little nugget came out. We've talked about this on this podcast before, about how entrepreneurs actually tend to have one of the highest rates of divorce in the country,
Yeah.
right? And imagine why, and we get that. But I love that you mentioned that you have the specialization in divorce lending too. That's something that touches our community, again, with a little greater frequency than most. So it's great to hear that you're a resource in that space as well. I mean, you are truly a resource that is.
Kaleidoscope. I'm going with the word kaleidoscope.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the word. I want you to talk about one of your proudest moments. A moment that you can look back where you're especially proud of a particular success or a movement in your career, whatever it might have been. Was it opening your own shop? Was it writing that first auto loan? And then what led to that? I'd love to hear that story.
So, if people are watching this, you can see there's a bunch of plaques behind me, right? Top 200 in the country. One crazy stat is in 2021, at the height of the refi boom, there were 300,000 licensed loan officers in America. There's now less than 60,000, and in that time frame, I was in the top 200.
Wow.
So those are amazing stats. But truly, what I cry about when we win is the best of in Santa Barbara. That is our local newspaper, the Santa Barbara Independent. It's a weekly. I guess it's not a newspaper. It's a weekly. And it's a community. You have to be nominated by your community. You have to be voted in by your community. And I am grassroots. I'm not buying ads, right? I am not, some local bank that's got hundreds of thousands of people that they're mailing to every single week to do it, right? It's literally us sending some videos and some social media and calling some people and saying, pretty please. And I know you got that phone call, but winning that means so much. So much. So much to
So,
me. Yeah.
so in listening to everything that you've talked about up to this point, we can all kind of imagine what led to that. But does this,
Sure.
love, serve, care
Yeah.
mindset, is that what led to that award? Have you consistently showing
I
that level?
I think the reason that we win it is because we go after closing, right? So for me, it's a relationship. It's not a transaction. Like I want to pour into your future. Like we're calling at certain trigger milestones because of home ownership. But like I've got a client that we helped years ago, and I just saw on Facebook that her daughter is 1 out of 12 uh, girls in America to be a Girls Inc. And I'm going to say this wrong, so I'm so sorry, Maya, because you deserve all the kudos. But there's only 12 Girls Inc. in America, like ambassadors, and she won it. And that's amazing, right? So this morning, I wrote her a thank you card. Good job, Maya. Go get some ice cream. You should celebrate. So I think that it's the looking forward and the following up and the non-transactional approach that helps win that. I do write for the local newspaper as well. Maybe that's great, right? But I think it's truly pouring into people's lives past the deal, over and above, right?
Personal touch that you're so good at.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you really are. I mean, it's and on so many levels. It's like, when you and I first met, we didn't know each other, right? And we go and have a coffee, and all of a sudden, like all these things start coming into my life through you, where you're like remembering those little things, right? And then
yeah.
I started to refer to you, and then I saw how that carried through, right, with everything
Thank
that
you.
you do, not just in the getting the business, but then also conducting it. So that's really cool. I'm going to ask you basically two more questions,
Okay.
and then wrap up because I know we're coming up on our time. So this one, if you can just kind of go quickly, because there is the entrepreneurial side of you as well, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear one of the most impactful things that ever happened to you, good or bad, right? That our audience can learn from as the businesswoman that you are, not as the professional service provider. It could be great, it could be horrible, but something that could be a lesson that our audience can take with them.
Oh yeah, here you go. It's super easy. In I'm part of a company called the Core Coaching. It's for realtors and lenders, and I'm a student as well as a coach. And in 2019, I was only a student. And you go to fight for these, like, you're the best student of the semester, right? And I lost. And I was like, hey, I mean, I've been kicking butt this semester. What? I'm doing all the things. And I walked up to my coach. I'm like, why did I lose? She's like, you took too many hits on your compensation. I said, excuse me? I was like, but this, but that. She's like, no. Based on what you're doing, based on your output, the price that you are getting, like for your service, right, is not worth the value. And you need to go negotiate. What I found was that company was keeping two sets of books on me. There was one that they were showing me, and there was one that they were keeping. And what they would do is they would inflate the price that I would see so that I would be like, okay, I'll work for half as much. All right, team, we got to scrape it to keep the business coming in the door, right? Because every entrepreneur has done that at least once of like, all right, I won't stick to my guns, right? And I'll discount to get it in, which is fine. And sometimes we have to do that. And yet, what they were doing is increasing the price so that I would take a comp hit, and then they would still make 100. They would be whole, and we'd make half. And right, isn't that fun? So what I encourage you to do as an entrepreneur, no matter what, quarterly, at least twice a year, but please quarterly, review your contracts and ask questions. Review your contracts and ask questions, right? Picking on the big banks, like, I do not like big financial advisor firms. I do not. They charge their clients 1 or 2% a year, 3% a year for no return and no support. That's disgusting. disgusting. You need to look at your contracts. Now, I'm not saying grind the other entrepreneur down. I'm saying ask the questions, right? Is this worth that value? Is your time truly being honored? Because your time is your money, and we are here, and giving our time is all we have to give, right? It's all we have to give. So please do some double checks, y'all. Ask some questions.
Everything, right? From suppliers on down, right? To your relationships, to where you're spending money. I think that's hugely valuable advice. Thank you. I know you have mentors, and I know we're also kind of coming up here to the end. And so we could probably do another entire podcast around how you've used mentors, how you've been one. I just wanted to give you an opportunity, if you wanted to make a particular shout out to one of the mentors that you work with that's made an impact in your life. And then maybe we'll have you back to talk about what that impact was. But I'd love to give you that opportunity.
My shout out goes out to Nelson DeLeon. He runs secondary for a company named Homeowners Financial, great company. And he's the money guy, right? He talks to the investors. He's he's on the operations side, because I'm more operations minded than sales minded. And he has always been kind. He's always been honest. He's always been transparent. And he's always fought the good fight. So he has taught me what it's like to be a leader that can be in relationship and be a good negotiator at the same time. And what I will say to entrepreneurs is take the meeting with your mentee, right? I used to think like, oh, you're a new loan officer. You're just going to try and get on my business. That's not the truth. Your clients are your clients. You do a good job and your clients will come. Take the meeting with the mentee, right? It's going to help you as well as them. And it's deserving, because every single one of us learned a lot of lessons the hard way. And there's probably quite a few that had we had that relationship and been given that opportunity, we wouldn't have the same scars.
Every high performer needs to have a good mentor or a good coach, which is why I always ask that question, because I want to drive that home on this podcast. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods changed his coach and went into the dump, right? And had to rebuild. We need good coaches. We need good mentors. Austin, last question. Before I ask it, though, I want you to be able to point to where people can find you. Do you want to shout that out?
Yes, please. AustinLampson.com. Austin, just like Texas, AUSTIN, Lampson, LA, M as in Mary, P as in Paul, SON, son of a lamp. I love my husband.com. That is where you will find me. You'll find a lot of resources. But if you check out my Facebook page or Instagram, you'll get a little bit more, or the YouTube channel. I'm pretty easily Googleable, but we'd be honored to help with anything that y'all need. Any questions, truly.
I'm so glad you were here. As we close, I want you to give me a 10-second answer, or 20, whatever you want to be. But what is one thing you want to be remembered for when all is said and done?
Helping people achieve their goals and bringing light to the world.
It's a perfect way to close this. I want to thank you again for joining and sharing all this incredible insight.
Thank you, Rich.
Everyone that's tuned in, remember we're on all the podcast platforms as well as YouTube. Please click like, subscribe, keep listening to some of these amazing guests that we're bringing on through here, and we will see you all again next time on The Road Already Traveled. Thanks again.
Thank you.
As always, thanks for joining us on the Road Already Traveled podcast. We're grateful you've joined our community and look forward to seeing you again for our next installment, so be sure to click subscribe so you won't miss a thing. This communication is for informational purposes only and does not purport to be a complete statement of all material facts related to any company, industry, or security mentioned. This material is limited to the dissemination of general information pertaining to its diversified services. The opinions expressed reflect our judgment now and are subject to change without notice and may or may not be updated. The information provided, while not guaranteed as to accuracy or completeness, has been obtained from sources believed to be reliable. Financial planning, advisory, and/or consulting services offered through Avalan LLC, a registered investment advisor. Prospects or clients who take advantage of any free consultations or services are under no obligation to hire Avalan LLC as their investment advisor. Listeners who are not market professionals or institutional clients of Avalan LLC should seek the advice of their financial advisor before making any investment decisions based on this communication. Additional information on any securities mentioned is available on request.